Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I'm more awake this time. We're going to be doing my round 3/4 tips. It's a big round with massive games. We're going to get straight into it. Someone's O has got to go. Collingwood taking on the Brisbane Lions in Brisbane. So the territory belongs to the Lions at the Gabba. Someone's O's got to go. And like last week, this is not the Tyson Fury, Alexander Usyk O, undefeated. These teams are very defeated, okay? And someone's got to win a game here. Unless they draw, one of Collingwood or Brisbane are going to be going into round 4 without a win. Collingwood could be 0-4. Brisbane could be 0-3. How this has happened, I don't know. But let's move past it anyway. Who am I going to tip? I'm going to tip the Brisbane Lions. At home, they've had the rest. They had a bye to maybe get something going for them. I think they'll win. Collingwood just have an air of arrogance around them. Craig McRae's not making changes. And I think Brisbane at home will be far too strong. I think they'll win by around 30 points. Just 30 points. Yeah. So let's go with Brisbane first round. And that's on the Thursday. Or today. Later tonight. Next up, we have got North Melbourne taking on Carlton at Marvel Stadium. Ignore the sounds of birds. There's a bunch of fucking cockatoos running around. North Melbourne against Carlton. Now, I am going to be realistic here. I am going to tip Carlton. I would love to have tipped North Melbourne, but I tipped them last week against Fremantle and they didn't get the job done. So, I don't back them in as much this time around. Carlton coming off the bye, you would assume that's maybe a good thing. Extra rest and stuff like that. Not so sure how they react. So, with the bye, we don't know how teams are going to react. Being Brisbane and Carlton, the teams at the bye. This week, the bye is Gold Coast and GWS. I think North Melbourne will lose this. Despite it being at home, I think Carlton will win by around 21 points. Not a massive victory, but not a massive, not a tiny margin. Next up, we've got Fremantle taking on Adelaide at Oaktoos Stadium. This is a game that I'm genuinely not sure about. Who do we... Bear with me, I'm going to blow my nose. Who do you go for? Do you go for the team that's in form, Fremantle, or the team that's out of form, Carlton? And I'm going to go for the upset of the round. Adelaide will be winning this. I think Adelaide, they're on knife's edge. It's already a final for them. And I genuinely am going to go with the Adelaide Football Club, which you might think is a crazy statement to make. But we're going to be doing it anyway, because why the fuck not? Where is that sunlight coming from? Anyway, I think Adelaide will win by around 3 points. I think they'll win by 3 points. Why am I doing this? I think there's just going to be a weird result. Can you shut the fuck up? There'll be a weird result, and that's going to be my weird result. I think Adelaide have more quality than Fremantle. Fremantle are in better form. I think the midfield mix for Adelaide just has to change. But I back them in. Essendon are taking on St Kilda. Now, Max King is not playing this game. So, not looking good for St Kilda. Obviously, they also lost Mason Wood. Fuck me, these guys need to shut up. Mason Wood has obviously been lost to suspension. Mason Wood through injury. And Liam Henry through injury. So, the St Kilda Football Club are running thin already. And we're only 3 rounds into the fucking season. I rate St Kilda way more, but I think those injuries I think the forward line can cope for St Kilda. I think the issue, it is at Marvel Stadium, so it does suit them. I'm going to go with St Kilda. Fuck it. I think Essendon are frauds, and I like St Kilda. You know what? I shit on them a lot, but St Kilda, their football is fun to watch. Where Essendon's, it's fun to watch, but it's very scrappy. So let's go St Kilda by 15 points. Next up, we've got Port Adelaide taking on the Melbourne Football Club at Adelaide Oval. This is a game that I think is quite dangerous for Port Adelaide. They should be beating Melbourne pretty, not comfortably. Like, Melbourne are obviously a super informed team. But the problem I have with, we'll start with Port Adelaide. They haven't had a test this year. They've played Richmond, who were shit, and they played West Coast, who were shit. So this is their first real test. I think Melbourne will pose a big issue. How will they go? I'm not entirely sure how Melbourne will approach the game. I think with Port Adelaide, you should probably tip them because it's at their home. And I will. I'll go with Port Adelaide hesitantly. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a wake-up call maybe because, like I said, the first 2 rounds were warm-up games for them, so maybe they're not quite prepared. I think Melbourne are the real deal, but I think the home crowd will push them over the line, be an extra man, and they'll win by around 12 points. So close rounds so far. The Dogs taking on West Coast at Marvel Stadium. The Dogs will win by around 90 points. Norton will kick 100 goals. Jemai will kick 100 goals. This is stock standard. This will be an absolute blowover. And then people will think Luke Beveridge is good again, when he's not. Let's move swiftly on to my club. Richmond taking on Sydney at the MCG. What the fuck? I thought we were playing Sydney away from home. That's awkward. Anyway, I was about to say we lose by 100 points because I thought it was in Sydney, but it's not. Sydney at the G. I feel like we're going to lose again. And we're going to be 0-4. We're not going to win this game. I do think we're going to keep fighting. We'll pose a threat, but quality's not there. Sydney will win this by around 15 points. It'll be a bit like the Port Adelaide game. We're at home where we just don't have the quality to get over the line. I don't want to talk about that game much because my club's depressing me and I'm now really sad. If we go into round 4, 0-4, I might cry. I will cry. Last game, we have got Hawthorn taking on Geelong, an all-time classic, a great rivalry. In my lifetime, this has been one of the greatest games in history. It's obviously lost its touch for the last 5 years. But for a long time, this was the game to watch. You look at apart from your own team, you look at these 2 clubs when they're playing. Now, it is at the MCG. This is a tough one because I think Geelong are the better team right now, obviously. But I do think Hawthorn have something about them. And I'm going to go with a Hawthorn victory. A little bit of an upset as well. I like to back them in. I think I've tipped Hawthorn every single round so far and they haven't won one yet. So I'm not going to learn my lesson. Geelong are the much better team. They're in much better form. But I think Hawthorn, fuck it. They'll get the job done. They'll win by 12 points. Yeah, 12 points. And then GWS and Gold Coast have a bye. So that's not going to happen. So just to recap, we've got Brisbane winning against Collingwood. North Melbourne losing at home against Carlton. Adelaide get a shock win against Fremantle in Perth. St Kilda get an away win against Essendon. Port Adelaide win at home against Melbourne. The Dogs beat West Coast at home. Richmond lose to Sydney at home. And Hawthorn beat Geelong at home. So a couple upsets there. What are your thoughts on it? Let me know your tips in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you in another video.